Hi, and welcome to Heartfelt Hustle. I'm your host, Sosh, and I want to thank you for giving me a bit of your time, focus, and energy. Today's episode is a deeply personal one, but it's also a evidence that, or to the idea that we as business owners are always growing, evolving, and learning to do things in a way that feels sustainable and true to ourselves. I am going to be talking today about, something that has profoundly changed my approach to business and life. I have given myself the permission to pause. So if you are someone or if you know someone who's been running on empty or let me say has been pushing themselves or pushing yourself too hard, questioning whether is it okay to slow down or simply wondering how to keep that passion alive, then this episode is for you. Welcome to Heartfelt Hustle, the podcast that dives deep into the heart and hustle of entrepreneurship, where our dreams meet reality and where our passions fuel our success. I'm your host, Sushmita Jain, a launch strategist and operations director, founder of an outsourcing agency. Most of my clients call me their right hand woman, and most importantly, a curious soul as well as a nerd. I am here to share my experiences. I am here to share my insights. I am here to share practical tips that will help you build a thriving and a sustainable business. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or someone looking to infuse more heart into your hustle, I am here and this podcast is for you. Each week, we'll dive into topics ranging from reconnecting to your passions, your soul, your why, and overcoming the roadblocks of your growth journey. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dig into this heartfelt hustle together. As someone who has always been drawn by building, supporting, and creating, I used to think that pause wasn't an option. Like, seriously, I felt that slowing down meant risking all that I had worked to build. But I realized that I was getting to a place where my energy was thin, my creativity felt drained, and I wasn't creating from the heart. I was pushing content out. I was working tirelessly with my clients, with my team, but somewhere my own business was being set aside. So, what I did, or what am I actually talking about when I say it's okay to pause? Like, am I saying that you just literally stop everything you have right now on your plate and take a break, and that's how you're going to benefit? Or what am I exactly talking about? Well, I did choose to pause. I did actually, stop doing few things in my business, but to be very honest, I did not choose to pause everything. I rather chose to pause a few bits of our operations. Like, for example, and if you have been following me for quite some time now, you do know that I run an outsourcing agency. My outsourcing agency, the projects we handle, the retainer clients we have, everything has been running smooth. But when it comes to my social media, when it comes to my brand visibility, when it comes to this podcast, things have been on hold. Now, why is that so? Because to be very honest, we just have 24 hours a day. I know, spoiler, right? Who doesn't know that? But yeah, that's the truth. That's a fact. That's the reality. So the time I would invest in, say, maybe working on my podcast, the time I would invest on maybe things and, tasks like maybe creating reels, writing social media content, I rather took that time and in that set of time, and I'm still actually working on it, but I think it's good to actually talk about this on this episode and talk about the elephant in the room because, this time has been invested in diving deeper and, connecting with myself. In this time, I haven't actually sit back and relaxed, but I have rather looked inward and I have asked myself hard questions. Hard questions like, what do I want my business to stand for? What impact do I want to make? How can I make things work, or how can I create or do things in a way that feels nourishing and not depleting? So these are the kind of questions I have been answering. I have been writing. I have been filling pages like on Notion, of course, not like on a planner. I like Notion, and that's the tool or app I do prefer. But yeah, I have been filling pages as well. And I've been filling pages in notebooks. I've been writing on Notion. I have been having conversations around this with my husband because we work on things together. So there have been lots of conversations. There have been these deeper dive conversations. And that's the reason why what felt like a pause wasn't really a pause. It wasn't really a reset, but it was rather a medium of me or for me to learn, to realign, and to build the kind of foundation moving forward that's going to support the updated or evolved vision of mine. Like, if I had to sum it up and, share some maybe key reasons behind my pause, one would be absolutely favorite of mine, which does keep coming back sometimes from time to time, is perfectionism. Like, I know, irony. Like, I did take a pause and I did stop everything, but perfectionism literally it is a double-edged sword, and I was figuring things out. I was trying to even analyze if I was going back or falling back in my old patterns, because a recovering perfectionist here, and I've been working on shifting my perfectionist tendencies, but it's always the learning curve, and sometimes you might not realize it, but you might be falling back. So yeah, anyways. So what I actually am trying to say here is that, perfectionism, like I said, is a double-edged sword, and sometimes we might feel and we might be harsh on ourselves thinking that, or sometimes we might feel that, oh my God, maybe we are trying to be a perfectionist and that's the reason why we're trying to pause, and maybe we should just keep on going and things like that. But I would say assess. I would say, yes, imperfection is good. You showing up truly the way you are is great. But the in-depth conversations I had with myself in this past few set of days has led me to this episode. Maybe if I would have still shown up and, had just kept on pushing myself in the name of, or in this, just saying or thinking about things like that, maybe I'm trying to be a perfectionist and should rather be imperfect and talk about things and, keep showing up, maybe I wouldn't have led myself to this episode as well, right? So I hope this message resonates with you. I want you to assess, is it that you're craving, you want to maybe reconnect with what and how you want to move forward from here, and that's the reason why you want to take a pause? And if that's the actual reason, and it's not some BS or a mental block or perfectionism or any other BS which is getting you stopped or getting you on a pause, I would say take a pause, right? Plus, I also wanted and I do aim to honor all of the roles I hold, like balancing all the roles, right? From being a business owner, a mom, a wife, an individual with dreams and goals of her own. That ain't easy. And like each role does deserve its own attention, and but still, at it or the attention that each of these roles deserve does not have to be at the cost of a burnout. So if we need some time, we need some time. We take that time. We take the break we need. We pick ourselves up, and then we just catch up and start building on things, moving further from there. So this break allowed me to understand what each role does mean to me and how I can set boundaries to honor each part of my life truly or fully. And it is something I do believe every business owner should reflect on as well, because balance is very personal. It cannot be exactly the way maybe I am doing it is the way it's going to work for you as well. And that's exactly why you want to understand what and how you want to do things. So it's crucial you are understanding your needs, your cravings, and working things out around according to that. Also, I did mention, and I did already say burnout once before, but I want to talk about it for a second for this maybe point as well, is that our energy is limited. Like I've faced burnout before, and it's one of the reasons I am so intentional about how I spend all of my energy. I've learned that the real success doesn't mean me running crazy or working constantly and continuously, even on, like 0% battery level on myself or on my energy, if that makes sense. Because, a pause we take is a proactive choice. And that choice is not just going to help us to keep a business healthy, but it's also going to help us stay healthy as well. As a person, as someone who has other responsibilities as well. It's our life, it's our business, it's our family. There's so many things. So, in fact, I've even talked about this in my weekly newsletter a few weeks ago, that it's okay to make your own rules, because we make a conscious decision when we choose to head down on this path. And that doesn't mean that it has to cost us everything. Rather, it means we make thoughtful decisions, we learn from it, and as we learn from it, we implement, we evolve, we grow, and we make things work in our business and in our life. So, and actually on that note, if you are someone who's not on my email list at the moment, I would love to have you be part of the Scaling Gazette community as well, because it's a newsletter every single week I send. It's either me reflecting on something or reflecting on a question that I come across or someone did ask me about. So those are heartfelt conversations, and the lovely or the amazing responses those emails get, it's just wonderful. And like I've struggled to actually, I started sending this, I think, or I'm not sure, but maybe almost 3-ish years ago or 2.5 years ago. And every single time it's getting better and better. And I'm actually connecting with that newsletter even more and more as it evolves. And it's just the way the name suggests. It's intentionally how we can grow and scale up businesses. So that's what the newsletter is all about. Now, coming back from the tangent, because we've been talking about the intentional pauses, we've been talking about reasons why I did take a pause as well. So, and why maybe this episode can inspire you to reconnect, refine, realign, take a pause, whatever you want to call it. But coming back to what I was talking about, this pause has also helped me reconnect with my vision. In fact, every single time I have taken a pause or I have reflected, I do reflect quarterly and as well. And obviously, as we're approaching year end, there would be that season of yearly reflections as well. But when we are craving for a specific kind of reflection or something is asking us to look back and reflect and, dive in deep, have those, inner, in-depth conversations, there's a reason for that. Because, I have big dreams for my business, and dreams are actually my dreams, as I look at them and how they've evolved, they've expanded over time and my vision has grown. And I have realized that I need to check in with it and make sure that my actions to align. I started this year with an entirely different plan for the entire year, but then I've been quite intentional and I've been listening to, my gut feeling and how I'm learning and how I am analyzing things. And I've been working on things that way, and it's been pretty interesting and it has been working pretty fine. So, yeah, we've got to see how we evolve, and based on that, our vision evolves, and based on that, how we want to operate does evolve as well. So this pause gave me the space to come back to my core values, to the why that drives my work. And I think the more, or if you are especially craving for it, I encourage you to take time to reconnect with your own vision as well, because the path forward becomes clear when you give yourself the permission to reflect. If you're not going to reflect, how are you even going to just understand what's happening or why what you're doing what and those kind of things? Next, me being a service provider as much as someone who's a consultant, someone who is working with a different set of people who are, at different stages in their business, sometimes it's easy to be so in the zone of the building list or building to-do list for me, my team, the responsibilities we are handling, that it's very easy to, actually for a second, not even realize or prioritize my own work. And I often find it easier sometimes to maybe, focus on client needs than my own. And I can say it's part of my dedication for serving others, but I also know that my brand's growth needs my focus too. And this pause has helped me see that I want to lead by example. I want to give my business the same care, the same level of in-depth work, and the same level of strategic work behind the scenes, front end. I do give my clients as well. And it's been a really interesting experience as I have been working on it, but I'm embracing it wholeheartedly. I might even actually do an entire episode about it in the coming time, but yeah, just mentioning it right now makes me go, oh my God, I just love what I do, and all of the different layers to it just excite me even more, as I work on it. But you get my point. And especially if you are someone who's listening, who is a service provider, who is not there's so many different types of businesses we are running, but running an agency, running a membership, working on different ideas. I am working behind the scenes and I have some ideas I would love to implement around my shop as well. And, there's these ideas, bazillion ideas to be very honest, but the more I work on them, the more each idea makes me realize how much I love all of these different aspects of the work I do. And obviously it's something that you work on, but yeah, we can't work on it all in one go, right? So we work on it step by step. Next, trusting my intuition. One of the greatest gifts I feel we have as business owners is our intuition. And my intuition was telling me it was time to slow down, to realign, and to literally just, trust the timing for this. And a pause gave me the space to listen to my own inner compass, or maybe the inner guidance, or I don't know, the inner voices in my head. We can just say so many things. But I believe, it has in some way or the other driven both my creativity, and over the period of time, I'm sure it's going to impact my brand's impact as well. So, yeah. Also, if there's one thing that I want to share, and that's the most important thing, is this, that consistency doesn't mean producing for the sake of it. Consistency for me is about showing up with high quality, meaningful work that truly resonates. And this break is me taking a moment to focus on quality and impact rather than a rigid schedule. And I hope that encourages you to do the same as well. So, yeah, because here's the thing, the power of an intentional pause is that you aren't it's not just beneficial, but I think and I feel it's essential. And, help us stay aligned with our vision, like I've said before, and bring our audience something that's truly valuable. Because, like I said, maybe if I wouldn't have gone through that experience, maybe if I wouldn't have listened to my intuition, maybe if I wouldn't have focused on quality over quantity, we wouldn't have been having this conversation. And maybe you wouldn't have been feeling or thinking about the things you're thinking right now as you're listening to this episode as well. So on that note, I actually want to share some action steps with you on how you can embrace pause in your business. Because, I've mentioned pause a bazillion times right now in this episode, but how exactly can you embrace pause in your business? Well, let's keep things simple, and rather, I have tried and I've worked out the most simplest and to the point action steps to help you work this out. Because the most important thing when it comes to when it comes to your pause for you to reflect back on is self-reflection. I don't, ask yourself, I know I'm being very innovative and aren't I or ain't I? But yeah, ask yourself where you're feeling most stuck or most drained in your business, because understanding these areas can help you identify where pause might help you realign, or it might actually help you find an area which you need help with, and then you can figure a way out to actually get help as well. So again, self-reflection. Ask yourself questions. Next, I also want you to plan a pause with intention, and literally start small, because you don't want to go in a rabbit hole. Rather, go with something like take a weekend off and sit, take your time and reflect, or plan a week of slowdown. How does it look like? What are you craving for? Why are you craving for it? What's the reason behind it? It's going to open up so many things for you. If you are maybe craving slowdown because you're feeling overwhelmed, what's making you overwhelmed? Or what is it where maybe you could ask questions? Or you could ask questions in, say, maybe a membership you're part of. You could ask questions, say, maybe you could DM me your questions as well. You could, open up and have a chat with someone you're very close to and who understands you, gets you as well. Different approaches, different ways, different things, but you need to take action. And then once you start taking action, I want you to capture all of these information. I want you to capture the ideas and then further reflect, then further work on it. Use this pause to reconnect with your connectivity. If you feel journaling is your way ahead, journal. If you feel recording voice notes is going to help you get ideas, help you work on things, do that. If you feel you just need a notebook and pen and paper are your best friend, just go ahead that way. Just take the pressure off, find inspiration where you find it, and then work on that inspiration further and work on it freely with no pressure. Because I encourage you to capture all of your thoughts, all of your ideas, all of your visions, all of your dreams that arise during this time, and you never know what new direction it might lead you to. You never know what new aha moments it might lead you to, right? So on that note, I would love to know, once you start working on these, maybe share, like images on Instagram stories and tag me and let me know how or what this reflection process leads you to, because why not? So yeah, because the most powerful thing you can do sometimes, like I said, is step back, give yourself permission to analyze, give yourself permission to listen to your own thoughts, because like seriously, we are so constantly jumping from one task to the other. We just sometimes do not listen to even our own thoughts. We just shut them down, and then that's not a great thing to do, is it? So I would love to hear if this resonates with you, and I would love to see where and how it leads you as well. So on that note, I am going to take off for this week, and thank you for joining me here on Heartfelt Hustle, because we are all hustling, but with a heart, and working and doing things because we love doing these, right? So yeah, sending you a big fat hug. If this episode resonated with you on any level, let me know, and share a review. Maybe if you know someone who would actually resonate and would love to work on all of these bits for themselves as well, share this episode with them as well. So until next time, take care and keep giving yourself the permission to make your own rules. Bye for now.